Woohoo! Check it out. On each side of me, I've got two beautiful crew here. The first time I've ever done a threesome in a sauna. So we're going to actually talk about a few things. But in the beginning, what we want to do is we want to go through a little interview. These two courageous people have been here. You've been here for what, 3 months?
Yeah, almost 3 months.
Yowza. What a nice vacation you've
It's
been on.
It's been wonderful.
And you came from Oahu.
Yes.
Okay, so she's not that far away. But then again, you came from...
Australia.
Yeah.
So,
we've had lots of people come up from Australia. And how many hours did it take you to get here?
about 12 hours. Yeah.
That's it?
Yep. It's not too bad. Yeah.
All right. So even coming from the East Coast then, if you were from New York, those guys come up here, it takes them...
Takes 13 hours from New York.
Okay. So now tell us about your story here. You've been, I mean, she's a heroic, what we'd call, she's like 31 days of dry water fasting, which is very unusual for just about anybody to be able to even think and conceive that they could survive without food for 31 days, which is, you know, like I say, very heroic, very courageous. Tell us your story.
Yeah, I contracted Lyme's disease about 15 years ago, but I didn't know, and my health kept declining over the years despite a really healthy lifestyle. And about 6 months ago, I finally learned that I had Lyme's disease, and it explained everything that had happened to me, and the thing that triggered that was being paralyzed. Mm-hmm. And, I was like, hey, I shouldn't be paralyzed. This is not normal. Something is going on. And, we discovered the Lyme disease. And so I just immediately began on a mission to, okay, I'm going to fix this, or there's a way out of this.
How did you figure out you had Lyme disease, though? From blood testing?
I had a lot of biofeedback testing, and I had some blood testing, and just then even my instinct and, my neurologist. Like, I went around to all these doctors, and I didn't really want to believe that it was true, but after, I made the rounds and I kind of already knew. Actually, I had discovered this the previous January, but by research of my own, and then I had pneumonia at the moment, so I couldn't do anything about it, and I set all my research aside, and I just put it out to the universe that, hey, if this is really what's going on, it's going to come back around. Mm-hmm. And,
well, just tell people, Lyme's disease is a parasite.
Yeah.
And it's a neurological type parasite that really gives you a run for your money with your nerves, your mind, your physicality, just your overall will to just even get out of the bed sometimes, headaches.
Oh, yeah. I definitely had a lot of time where I just couldn't even get out of bed.
And how many years supposedly have you had this?
At least 15 years.
Uh-huh.
So, it really had become entrenched in my body. And then I discovered the story of Anita Metcalf through my research, because after I started researching, I was like, whoa, this is pretty serious. Like, this is not something to be handled on your own. And, at this late stage, because I was already having such severe neurologic effects, with the paralysis and everything. So that's how I discovered Anita Metcalf, and she came here, and she had all these videos, and I really related to...
And she came in a wheelchair. Her mom was pushing her.
She came in a wheelchair. I saw the end video at first where she's doing, like, cartwheels and handstands on the lawn.
Crying for laughter because she's moving.
Yeah, and just like a young, like, 20-year-old cheerleader, and I was like, whoa, this girl has Lyme's disease. Like, what did she do? Like, I need to do that.
She was miserable when she came. Her having seizures every day. I mean, it sort of scared me a little bit because I've never seen anybody with that amount of... And she's had it since she was like...
28 years.
Yeah, like since she was 13 or something.
I can't even fathom that. I mean, just what I've experienced in the 15 years, I really feel for her, and I really related to her story, and it was incredible, the transformation, from wheelchair to cartwheels and handstands. And she was here for 3 months. Right, exactly. So as soon as I saw her story, I was like, okay, this is, I knew it in my heart and soul, like in my mind, this is the place that I need to go, and this is what I need. And whatever it is, I was like, I don't even care if it's Lyme disease or not. Like, whatever it is that's causing these problems, I knew that coming here and doing the fasting would alleviate that and put me in a much better place. And that was why I was so determined to go as long as I did. I mean, I didn't have any clue that I would go 31 days.
I mean, did you have in your mind? Because she did.
No,
she did what? How many days did she do?
I think she did close to 20 days.
21, I think, or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But that's really breaking it. See, and you did here, how many days?
Yeah, I did 16 days.
These are heroic, okay, just engagements. I'm sure most people have never even fasted for a day. Have you ever fasted, both of you guys, before for, anything over like a week?
No, I haven't.
I don't think I'd even fasted for a day before I came here. I had done intermittent fasting, but no whole day fast.
Okay,
it's crazy the amount of energy that you have. Like you're not hungry for food.
Mm-hmm.
It's more or less water that you're thirsty for.
Right.
So that's what I found. Like I got over the hunger sensations like after day 3 and 4, and then I just realized how thirsty I was.
Okay, so Colleen came here also because of a specific, you weren't feeling too good, okay, as far as, I mean, your system, you knew you had to go ahead and figure out how to dry out not only this parasite, but toxicities and all the different things you've accumulated in your system, because both of you guys, I mean, have regenerated so much, especially you, because you've been here 3 months.
Yeah.
And this girl here, she doesn't even look the same, okay? Everybody, it is used to seeing themselves, and I get a chance to see people on snapshots, because they look at themselves, everybody does every day in the mirror. So you really can't see that much difference, but I see this snapshot of this totally different person. So you came here now because of, this girl's only
26
years old, okay? Talk about smart.
Yeah.
Because the older you are, the harder it is to get some of the stuff out until you actually learn these fasting procedures and detox protocols, and then learning how to eat right a lot of times, and re-exercise and all these different pieces. So what was your reason for coming here?
Well, my reason was my mum passed away 4 months ago of breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the profound things that she said to me towards the end of her life was, it's the most important thing to do is take care of yourself and to find out, what you're here to do. And so I feel like I'm totally being guided here to do that. And I think clearing away old garbage, toxicity, is helping me on that journey to do that.
Okay, so you did, what was between the both of you guys? Because you did heroic layers of time. What, as far as, since I got the camera this way here, what was probably the most turbulent time? I mean, you did 16 days. So when did you feel all of a sudden this is pretty easy? Because there's a switch that happens,
It would have been probably day 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I started feeling like I was, like the hunger pains. They were like, there was like the hunger sensations in the beginning. And then there were like mad cravings for foods that I hadn't eaten for like so long. Like I'm like, I don't ever eat that.
Hamburgers flying through your head.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff that I don't eat anyway. Yeah. And I had all those crazy sensations and cravings. And then after probably day 5, started weaving off a little bit more. And then day 6, I just felt like I was becoming more like connected with myself and with nature.
Okay.
And and then after day 7, I felt quite liberated from
So
it.
you had energy though.
I had energy, yeah. After day 7, I had quite a lot of energy.
And then a lot of people, then what happens is they hit the layer again. When was the next time all of a sudden when you felt like, remember, you have this, and we can talk about it because Colleen went through this, and I think you guys both did, and I've done this many times. I call it colony collapse. Is when you remove all this energy from your body, okay? Nobody in your body is getting fed. Yeast, mold, fungus, Lyme's disease, whatever. Herpes, doesn't matter. Whatever's in your system is not getting fed. Then you go on taking out toxicity. Then you lower the bar even more. So now the parasites and all the things that are living in your system now, they're not getting fed, and you've taken out all this contamination. You're opening up the flow, like in the sauna right now. You're getting all this movement. Colon therapy, different types of IV therapies, massage, whatever it takes to be able to soften this up. So what happens is after a while, you wind up getting this layer of microbes, they're not coming back. You're not feeding them. And all of a sudden, they sort of die at the same time, and you get sick a little bit. You feel diarrhea, headache, you just throw up, whatever the case may be. Did you run into that?
I felt, I more or less felt a lot of emotion. Like as I was letting go, I felt like I was like releasing emotion that I guess that weren't obviously wasn't mine.
Exactly.
It was like something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like getting like a lot of that got, I kind of, got rid
You
of
lost
it.
you lost your physicality, garbage, and then all of a
yes.
sudden you have this ethereal, emotional, like we were talking about. You got all these knots in your emotional body,
Yes.
and then they just come out. Sometimes you'll cry.
And obviously all the pain sensations that come along with it.
Okay.
Letting go of our babies.
I know.
That's really interesting that Clover shared that now, because that's the first I've heard. And when I had the colony collapse, it was the same for me. I mean, mine was super severe. I dropped like 14 pounds in 6 days. Like, you know,
on the toilet a lot.
Throwing up? I spent 24 hours just like throwing up every 30 minutes, and then like I spent another 24 hours like on the toilet. And then I spent, like, I couldn't even have water. Like, I was just dry fasting at this point, because anything that I put into me was just, like, immediately, like, ejected in some form.
Out of both sides, though.
Yeah. I was all over the place. And, man, I was just dropping weight quick, and I was feeling like total crap. And then after the third day, it started to, like, calm down a little, but it was just totally dry fasting.
Okay, so when did that happen, though? On what day?
That happened on July 4th. It started.
Yeah, nice.
And
how many days were you...
It took like about 6 days before I was able to eat again. I fasted for another 6 days, essentially.
No, I mean, but how many days was that into your journey on... were you eating again?
I think I arrived on May 13th, and then to July 4th. And I had, whatever, May 13th plus 31 days. Mm-hmm. So, like, around June 14th, 15th maybe is when I started eating. So then I had about 2.5 weeks before the colony collapsed. But I was super mega strict on no sugar.
No sugar.
No sugar. I wasn't eating any carbs. And
you're doing a lot of fermented stuff.
Fermented foods and fermented coconut water, and just keeping my diet super clean and pure. Mm-hmm. And my digestion was just on...
And no sugar.
Totally on.
And you're still going to the bathroom, feces.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Great movement happening in the digestion area.
So what was your most turbulent... Okay, like I said, she did 31 days of water fasting, and she's never really even fasted before water fasting, so don't get scared to even try to do 7 days. And what these two guys did, and everybody here, they raised the bar up through everybody that was at the retreat here. Everybody that came, they were just thinking in their mind just to even start 7 days. But 31 days, 16 days, all of a sudden you come in and you go, shoot, everybody's doing way over 7 days, so shoot, I got to do that just to go ahead and stay in the rule, because if they can do it, I should be able to do it for sure. At least do half of what Colleen did. Yeah. They did 16 days. Most people can't. They have to really get through 4 days, and it's getting over that hump. But once you do, though, because you guys broke both the layers, the boundaries, then all of a sudden you've got this next spurt. So let's say you had, like, yours was like the 7th day. You said you had some turbulence, right?
Yep.
Okay, then did you have any turbulence in the beginning?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all through the first, like, I'd say at least 2 weeks, I wasn't feeling very well at all. I was having horrible headaches, like on the verge of migraine, like extremely frequently, like lots of body pains. Dr. Mari would give me acupuncture, and she gave me, this kava tincture that really helped just calm my body. And I did have quite a bit of pain, actually, because I had a gigantic mercury-filled tooth pulled on my first day here, and it was connected to my nerve and my jawbone, and it left this like abscess, literally like huge hole in my mouth, and now it's like it never even happened. And they said it would take about a year to heal, and now I'm 3 months in, and it's like it never happened pretty much. So it was really painful, and I was using a lot of clove oil and essential oils and just trying to get through it. And but then I turned, it started to get easier, and I wasn't the more I went into it, the more my symptoms started to decline. And even though I was having detox symptoms, I was feeling sharper, my brain was working better, I was dreaming again. I didn't dream for a few years regularly, and strong dreams, really strong dreams, and like really informative dreams, I could say. And vivid and very powerful. Vivid, and like visiting my subconscious and really working out. anything that was left in there.
We call that clarity.
Yeah, I feel so much clearer, more clear. And then after the colony collapse, that was like what you had, Clover, a huge colony collapse. Emotional release. And I kind of reunited a part of myself that was within me that I don't know where it went, but it was kind of sleeping. And, after that colony collapse, I had a really emotional just release. I did stretching, I did meditation.
Did you cry a lot too at all?
I cried, and I just let it come out, and I just let it flow. And it was like a whole body, physical, mind, spirit cry.
Yeah, this is where the guys got to learn from these girls, because you don't like to cry, guys, because you think it's like wussy for you, but you got to let it out. You got to let all these things out, and when you do, though, what happened to you? You felt so released.
Oh, after that, I felt incredible. I spent about 4 or 5 hours just on my own. I had music, and I had, a lot of water. I was fasting, and I just did so much body work, and after that, I felt like whole again. I felt like myself like I haven't felt and I don't even remember how long, and I've been extremely more calm overall. Like my adrenal system had been really stressed.
Yeah, you've been reset, both of you guys.
I've been totally reset, and other people are even noticing it, like the level of peace and calmness that I have now that I didn't have before that colony collapse. And I had done a lot of work with the 31-day fast, but you
didn't feed anybody sugar. If not, you would have just jumped back on the 800-pound gorilla bandwagon, I call it, because everybody's got this 800-pound gorilla called yeast, mold, and fungus, and candida. And it's not an 800-pound gorilla physically, but once you colonize them all together, that 800-pound gorilla lives, because all those microbes and parasites, they all work in tandem, and their number one thing is to get fed. So, you did 31 days, and why did you quit? And you did 16 days. Why did you stop? Was there like a time where it said, something inside said, that's enough?
Well, kind of. I kind of got to the point where I had a colonic, and I just had such a release, and so much parasites came out of me, and I was on day 31. I had parasites like this long, like literally 12 to 14 inches, filled the tube, and it was like doubled up. And we don't know, was it one giant long one, or was it just two gnarly things
and when you see them, what do you say? What do you think?
I was just thankful. I was like, hey, get out of my body. Like, I do not need you. But
did you believe that you had these? I mean, you're thin. Remember, you guys are small. So can you imagine people 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight? The amount of actually visual critters.
Right.
We're not even talking about the small micro critters where you got to look on a microscope. We're talking visual class parasites.
Yeah, and the first colonic I had, it was so intense. I didn't even look. Like I threw up. And then Nedra, she said at least 24 of those 5th stage ropeworms came out of me.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're probably
colonic.
the rope parasite.
And
Take pictures?
It was just like there was so much going on, and it was just coming so fast, and then I was like kind of throwing up some bile, and like it was like a complete overhaul. And so each time I went, more parasites came out, and it was just kept, the more parasites I saw, the more motivated I was to just keep going.
There you go.
And I never set a date of like I want to do X days. I just every day Dr. Mario asked me, how many days do you want to do? I was like, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going until I can't anymore. And so then on the last colonic I had, day 31, I literally had to be carried out of there because I was so weak. You carried me up the steps. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, remember that off the cement.
Yeah, I was like laying on the hot ground because I just had to like get out of the car and like get to my room in phases, and I was just
I carried you up on my back.
Yeah, he gave me a piggyback ride, and I was like.
Well, you were only like 95
because it was like work to like try to hang on to you.
And
I was like using every bit of energy. Yeah, I was 97 pounds at that time. I'm 5'7", so that was like pretty crazy. I don't know when I was 97 pounds last, but then I had the colony collapse and I went right back down like pretty much to 98 pounds. So that was.
So you got some insight in your system to say, okay, I've done where I feel that this is my limit right here, and you've done. Remember, you had to feel proud. There's only one other person, I think, that did 30 days here. So I think you have the record, 31 days.
Yeah, well then plus the colony collapse, if you add the 6 days, I felt like I had, that was like my second fast. And I fasted for like 37 days in total, which is
well, think of it. She's close to the Bible,
blows my mind.
the 40 days of fasting, remember? And people think that they can do these things under the right circumstances and in the right conditions. Everybody here is doing the same thing, so it's actually like a cool atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, and remember, all the guys that were here, girls, everybody's like doing the same thing. And even when other people were eating, because we're not all on the same, layer. Some people are hanging longer on the fasting. Some people come different times. So some people are refeeding, and some people are just starting.
Right.
So did you notice that the smells? Let's go to
yeah.
to
Clover has the
here.
best willpower in this department.
Yeah,
I have to commend her.
to Miss Australia.
Hello.
And look at the tan she's got. When she came in, she's a white mama. Okay, tell us about your
About my colonic.
Your willpower.
Your
Like
willpower.
the food. Yeah.
well, when you're smelling all the different things. And remember,
Yeah.
you were going through. Remember, you did 16 days. What did you?
Yeah.
What,
It's actually like the right environment, and it's quite easy to do, I think. Like, or you just, all those sensations of like food and stuff come up. But I mean, this is like a really healthy environment. There's only fresh produce being, made in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that, is like tempting the little critters inside of us, which...
And everybody's eating the food sort of like, that's really super healthy for you. It's not like someone's cooking a bunch of French fries or, a bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. And just like the surrounding, surrounded by nature, and you've got the beautiful, the waterfall down the back, which is like beautiful to go to. And it just like kind of freshens you up and helps you to be more vibrant during the fast.
Yep.
And I guess I just kept going until I felt like my body was ready to start refluorinating. What I actually felt like I started to really feel like I wanted probiotics. Mm-hmm. And I think that was to refluorinate the gut wall. So I started really feeling that, and I also had a week here, so I kind of wanted to like start putting back good bacteria into my gut.
Exactly.
For my departure.
So the idea between the two of you guys right now, like I said, it's the first threesome I've ever done in the sauna here. We've been in here now for we started at 100. So
25 minutes.
Got 25 minutes. We're at, I'll just show you here, we're at about 140 degrees. And I set the timer at 100 and it's counting down, so we're at 75, so we're at 25 right now. And you can see we're sweating up a real good river, okay? A river, okay? Now, most people, okay, when they first start doing this, they don't even sweat. All the sweat on her. And it's not just coming off, it's dripping. It's dripping, it's rivering. I call this the river sweat. So, once you open up your skin pores, it's really super easy to go ahead and actually detox yourself. And so part of all these different protocols is, these guys here have already taken themselves to a certain layer, and they're going to start doing what I would recommend is what's called intermittent fasting now, because they just did what's called a block fast, which is taking a block of time. Even if you just did a fast from not eating meat, that's a fast, okay? Or a fast, which I would rather see you, if you're going to do a fast and you can't think you can handle it all, then do a fast on all GMOs.
What?
All of it. All GMOs, okay? And then if that's a fast, and then see if you can go ahead and do just a simple fast. How about just not eat pork? That's
You
a
mean
fast.
non-GMO? You're saying
No
fast
GMO.
from GMOs.
Fast
Okay, I
from
thought you were
GMO.
saying fast on GMOs.
Oh, no,
I was
no,
like,
no,
what?
no. No, you want to take away something that
Take
you
them
know,
away,
just
right.
one thing at a time. Okay, so what these guys did, like I said, they had sort of tank, Morpheus said, tank, load the jump program. And they came over here to dry themselves out, and not only dry themselves out, but actually regrow themselves. And so exercise is going to be very important to their new life. And reflourishing the gut wall flora, keeping the 800-pound gorilla out of the body, which is the sugar. Okay, the sugar, remember, feeds everything inside that you don't really like. I don't care if it's sickness. I don't care if it's dysfunction in your head. And in time, you'll be able to have things you want to have. But if you want to clean yourself, which takes years, it's not just a 10-day fast or cleanse. This is a lifestyle. And your new lifestyle, you guys, right now, you've been kick-started. Both you guys, okay? Look, she's young. She's kick-started herself, and she's got nice bruises all over her body from learning the gua sha techniques, the guashing I call them. And every little mark that she's got on her, okay, those are new areas of life that actually come through. And she's got them on, I think you got them on your legs too, or...
My legs here somewhere.
Yeah.
Back maybe.
But we're going to give her, both these guys, a few. And I'm not going to, no one's here to hurt anybody. All we're going to do is try to bring back life to areas that realistically, they don't have life. Because why? Because you'll see, if they do bruise under a very light, because we're soft, under very light pressure, okay, this is the resurrection of your tissue. This is taking sick tissue, as I call it, and really what I like to call it's diseased tissue. And what lives in that diseased tissue, especially on women, under the armpit, and I show you, and these are very general technique today we're going to do, but we're going to do what I like to do this on everybody. It's the deep cleaning technique. It's just to go ahead and actually scrape a part of, not the skin, we're going 3, 4, 5 layers down, and we're going to see if we can pull out this weird stuff that you'll see that comes out on almost anybody that actually fasts or goes through these protocols. So tell us about, just before we start part 2 here, you guys, like I said, are both heroic journey women coming up here doing your detox. Do you feel that this would be beneficial for anybody at any age, no matter what, just to be able to reset their world? Because most people are missing out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just being able to breathe after doing this. I feel like my skin can breathe when I like clean it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like yesterday I gua sha'd and I hadn't gua sha'd for 3 days, and literally like stuff was just like, so much dirty stuff.
Well, I'm talking about the fast too. Do you think that whatever you just did, okay, right now, would be beneficial? Okay, like I said, you want to actually rejuvenate. Then what do? You slow down your calories, or you cut them out, and you try to do it for at least a 3-week period. And then once you do, you get clarity. And not only do you get clarity, but now you have to have activity. And so this is the most important part of your journey now, is to train your nerves, train your highways now to perform different than they did before. Remember, the nervous system is what you guys want to regrow right now. You're not going to maybe like it too much, because you have to reformat your nervous system, which actually make your musculosystem work, and it makes all your systems from creativity. So exercise, you'll find out, is the most beneficial thing, and doing it consistently 2-3 times a day if you can. Okay,
Get
just
your
a little
sweat
bit.
on.
Yeah.
Sweat it out.
So let's hear what you have to think about your, man, there's lots of people.
Right.
Forget the Lymes disease things. Look, so many people have so many.
Everybody has
parasites,
stuff they need to
different
get rid
stuff.
of, like whether it's parasites, whether it's emotions pent up, whether it's
Toxicity.
just toxic people in your world, a toxic career.
Yeah,
I mean, it
exactly.
could be anything. You name it. Everybody can benefit from this. We all have things to let go of, and all the people who've come through here, I've just seen transformation after transformation. I've been here 3 months, and to see people, and it's like the fountain of youth.
That's
Literally,
right.
I mean, people drop years from their spirit and
Baggage.
their mind and their body, and it's like you're turning back the clock of time, literally, in all of these areas. And who can't benefit from that? I mean, honestly, in this society and day that we live in, and just the world and the programming, like you say, it's just like you really need to disconnect from that and get in touch with what is your true self, and
Your
ground
purpose.
yourself, and realize your purpose if you haven't already realized, and just contribute to the world, and do what you can to help other people get to that place.
Listen to these-
That's what I'm all about.
Listen to these guys.
And
Okay, that's good.
I mean, coming here, there's no way that you could come here and not have a transformative experience. And I think we all need this, and if everybody in the world did things like this, our world would be a much more beautiful place, in my opinion. And that's my mission, is to just share that with everybody, and show people how they can transform themselves too. You don't even have to come to a retreat. I mean, this is an ideal place to do it.
Start out doing it
but
yourself.
You do it at home, and I've been detoxing for 2.5 years, hardcore. Before I came here, because I knew the signs of my body were telling me, like, hey, this is not right, you're out of balance, I'm really in tune with myself, and I knew the message was coming loud and clear. Hey,
take care of it now.
you need to heal and take care of yourself. And I've been on this mission actually all my life, for like almost 35 years, I've been interested in health and wellness and studying, and I have a degree in sports medicine, and these are things that I've been studying all my life. But then when I found out I was getting sick, like I was like Dr. Cassar, I just research. I mean, the internet is fabulous, and you can learn so much. And with the knowledge I had under my belt, it really helped me to navigate the path and start that detox process, and do it safely too. Because
if you didn't have any background either, then there's discretional, because on the internet it's not just what you think. There's more discretional things you need to take a look at. So you do need to follow somebody, a couple people in fact, just to get you over the hump. And then once you get over the hump, you'll feel more comfortable that the journey that you're on is the correct journey. It may give you turbulence in the beginning. Like I saw both these guys. Yeah, you did. But I carried you upstairs there.
Gosh.
I saw you disappear for a couple days. Where's Clover? Okay. So why? Because you're going.
It's healthy.
Well, you're going through your metamorphosis. And so you guys did go through massive. That's what I call it. The metamorphosis of the self, taking out the physical toxicities, just sort of like with the caterpillars. It's all physical, and it cocoons itself and liquefies its DNA. And that's what you guys did. You stopped feeding everybody, and all the energy that you wasted on trying to break down food and trying to go ahead and feed all the parasites, which are energy vampires. You didn't feed anybody, so you did get tired. Why? Because everything that's living inside you was feeding off of you, because you're not feeding them with fuel. So they would take some of your energy, but it was that time and space where you had the collapse, and this is where you get some of your resurrection. This is where you don't go back to from which you came. Come on, this is a big thing not to get pulled in, because when you guys go back, remember, all your friends and everybody are going to want to pull you back into what I used to say is pull you back into sickness, is because all the things that realistically that you got out of your system and a lot of these pesky parasites, now your job is to do intermittent fasting and try to fast, if you can, 16 hours to 18 hours a day. And how do you do that? At night you have a dinner at 7 o'clock, whatever, okay? Remember, every time you go take a urination, what do you drink?
Water.
32 drinks of water. You just keep pushing it out. You get up in the middle of the night, what do?
Water.
Drink water.
You drink in the middle of the night, you drink more water, okay?
I don't know, I found like I've done the intermittent fasting now for 2 days, and it's really no problem. It's like, you drink plenty of liquids throughout the day, your chia seeds, spirulina water, kombuchas, fermented drinks, fermented coconut water, and then it really satisfies you throughout the day. And I for myself, I'm like, wow, I'm going to be able to get so much more done.
I'll tell you guys a real secret here, because this is what helped me. Because remember, a lot of people want to know, how did you do it? Well, when I knew that intermittent fasting, and that's why I still have one meal a day, but it took me a while to train myself. But one of the things that really helped me, when I was hungry, okay, I always drank 30 ounces of water, because I'm not hungry, I'm thirsty. And then I'd wait 5 minutes and see how I feel. I may be empty a little bit, because there's things inside me, remember, that want me to feed them, especially if I smell lunch from someone else, or I'm driving in the city and I'm smelling Taco Bell or McDonald's. These smells actually excite things that live in my body. So what I do is I bring spirulina with me, or the different combinations we have, chlorella, mucuna, chlorella, shilajit. We have all these and I'll eat 10 pills every couple of hours. And not only are you going to go to the bathroom like crazy, because the greens, remember, help give you super energy, but they also push out a lot of stuff, especially the chlorella starts taking out toxicity. And that's why when your stomach's empty, okay, let's switch the camera here, open the door. When your stomach's empty, then this greenery, I call it the greenery, the health greenery, actually starts to rehabilitate your gut wall. It starts to seal the holes in your intestinal tract, which most people have at 40 years old. 50% of the people have some type of leak in their intestinal tract. So I take 10 of whatever green pills, and I chew them up really, really, really good, and they're sort of gummy, and I swallow them. And this, remember, in your mind, you're skipping lunch, you're skipping breakfast, but those 10 pills that you just took, and you just crunch them up, I get the tablets, those 10 are like eating like 5 pounds of broccoli, okay, chlorophyll-wise, okay, it's got all your amino acids in there, it's got a ton of good stuff in there, so don't think that you're starving yourself. Remember, it's more like, it's a mind thing, so once you can sort of use that as your crutch, it really super helps you. And remember, you want to have a variety of liquids, lemon waters, any liquids you can, and then you have your meal at night. And then, like I said, observe what you want to eat first, because that's what's living inside you, remember, that needs to be fed first. Remember, there's things, when you dry them out, you'll know who's in control. Okay, what do you want to eat first? And you're not going to ask yourself that. Yourself inside these parasites, and once you get rid of them, then you have to really think about it. It's because, you know what I like? I like salty, oily. Okay? I like crunchy. It's my first couple bites of stuff. Okay? And when I'm not healthy, you know what I like the first bite? Maybe I'm going to have my dessert first. Okay? I'm going to have my sugary stuff. Mom would always say, why are you eating your dessert now? You're ruining your dinner. Because I didn't know my yeast, mold, fungus, and candida was in power and control. So you guys have a beautiful existence now just to be able to retrain your system. So we've been in now, like I said, 35 minutes or so, 37 minutes. Okay, so we're ready to start part 2 because I like to go ahead always see if we can at least spend, this is when you start doing the deeper gua sha, the deeper cleaning. You have to go ahead and sweat for 30 minutes. Then you start, because if not, you're not soft enough. And then what will happen is we can't get anything out. So a lot of people try to do this deeper cleansing that we'll show you how to do here. And we're going to use a couple solvents and different things here, but unless you soften yourself up and unless you're sweating, remember, you want to time yourself for at least 20 minutes when I river sweat. And like I said, some people in here for 20 minutes, they don't even have one drop.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that happens to a lot of people.
Wow.
I come in. So
I have a river.
No, you guys
That's
actually...
because underneath the skin is clogged up.
It's clogged up.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why all the washing and the skin cleaning with various different protocols, it makes your skin so it's more like, when I said both of you guys, you have 18-year-old little girl skin. Even though you're young, most women your age have terrible skin. They got skin fungus everywhere. They have a ton of weird stuff hanging, not even on their skin, underneath their skin. So there's a lot of people that have this stuff called scabies, hair mites, I mean, all different things. So the best thing to do is really change your internal diet, of course. And once you do that, then you, of course, are opening up yourself to be able to get more liquid, because it's the liquids that's going to get you healthy. It's the liquids that's going to regain back your health. And it's the deep detoxification. So what we call it is, if you want to get well, you got to super clean the cell. Not the body. We need to clean the cells.
I like that.
Okay? So if you want to get well, you have to super clean the cells internally. And that's our next protocol here, is to make sure that the skin is got its baggage out of here. Remember, they're sweating. Perfect. That means they've done a lot of homework. You guys have been bruising yourself, and I don't even like to touch anybody unless they've already done a couple of weeks of doing. That's why. It's because they're going to all say, you hurt me. No, you need to hurt yourself for a while. That's why I didn't touch you. And some people, I won't even touch them at all.
Real good.
Yeah, no, beautiful. Show them this. Let's see. Oh, look at it. And it's been there for a little while. Why? Because it's sort of yellowy right now.
Yeah. This was my last gua sha a couple days ago. And then Dr. Mari, she's been beating me up pretty good too.
Look at the water going down. See, it's rivery. Okay?
It's dripping.
And if you don't drink enough water while you're in here, you stop sweating.
I'm still sweating.
Okay, so you always, like I said, you always put water, 32 ounces at least before you get in here, so you have a full tank. And then I bring in 64 ounces with me. This is my blue-green algae combo with some minerals and a little silica in here. And I drink this because the blue-green and these tints make my mind very clear. This is not food for my body. This is food for my mind. There are certain foods that we take that are for our body. There are certain foods that we take that feed our glands. Okay, so this is for my brain, because I like to be clear with two beautiful girls next to me on each side. Like I said, we've never done a threesome before. Or at least I haven't, not in here. Okay, anything you want to say before we start part 2?
New every day.
Oh, yeah. It's part of the fun we have over here.
Stay in the adventure.
Oh, yeah, no, it's part of my fun is doing this because really, you know, a lot of people ask me, why do you have all these people around you since you live here all the time? I said, because I love to see people change. I love to see people change and go through their turbulence, and they all look pretty miserable there for a little bit. Then all of a sudden a light bulb goes on, and then all of a sudden their whole system looks like they de-accumulated 10 years worth of weirdness, even if you're young. So a lot of people, like Shauna, you know, everybody has their own baggage that they carry. And so if you're 48 years old like she was, she lost 10 years of baggage. Okay, you're 26, you still lost 10 years of baggage because you lost a lot of emotional garbage. Your body hasn't accumulated as long as like mine. I'm 55. How old are you?
41.
Okay, so The older you get,
41 and feeling fine.
yeah, no, she looks really vital. Like I was telling her, taking some pictures of her outside.
She's like a little kid.
She's like a swimsuit model now. And I was looking up, saying, "Shoot, is that you?" Damn.
I feel so good. I feel like I have my joy back, and I've always been a joyful, like every day is a gift kind of person. And man, I had a few years of rough times there, but I'm really just so grateful and thankful, and to have this experience and to have this transformation and to get me back,
Yeah, your personal vacation for yourself, to know thyself.
I actually have been listening to Mike Love. He has an album called The Change I'm Seeking, and one of the songs, it's been just part of my healing path, and it's like Let the Healing Begin is one of the titles. Forgive Me is a title that happened like after the colony collapse. I had this like huge like emotional release, and just the forgiveness of myself for whatever I was hanging on to and getting rid of that. And there's another song called Permanent Holiday. And, there's songs about earthlings and how, like, the change this world needs. And, one of the last songs is Moving On. And that is, like, it's talking about, like, fly away. And I sing, and I do this, like, singing therapy. And it's, like, it vibrates through my whole body.
Dancing.
And this is, like, who I am. This is
Happy
me.
self.
I let go of all those parasites. They were literally controlling every aspect of my being.
Feelings.
It was insane to see like the level of control. And now that I've done all this fasting, I don't even want sugar. Like sugar is unappealing to me.
Same with me.
It's like, and especially after the 31-day fast, I had no desire. I saw some people, they were like, "Ooh, sugar, sugar, sugar." Like, the parasites were saying, feed me, feed me. And Nick, the intern, like shared something with me while I was fasting that was really profound to me personally. We were at the park, and, I'm just like, man, I'm really hungry. I'm so hungry. Like, and I was really thin by this point, and, people were seeing how thin I was, and, I was seeing them see me.
And they're looking at you going,
and,
"Honey,
we're at the beach.
You must be on meth or something."
Yeah, you can, like, see my ribs, and I was just like, man, I'm really hungry. And Nick shared with me, he's like, is it you that's really hungry, or is it the parasites that are hungry?
Yeah, so that's
and
good.
I was just like, OMG. Like, it's the parasites that are hungry. That's not me. And like in that moment, I just had this like hardcore realization. And then from then on, anytime that I felt hungry or that I was like thinking about food, I just thought like, that's the parasites.
But were you
and
hungry
it was so
for something
powerful.
else? What were you hungry for?
I just
hungry in general?
hungry in general because I mean this was like in the day 20s probably,
and you're smelling everybody's barbecue.
Yeah, I started to like have a harder time like smell like
everybody's
around,
eating chips.
Yeah, like day 26,
beers
27, 28.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even want to smell food, and I was just the parasites were starving. But him sharing that with me really put it in perspective, because then every time I felt hungry, I just said, "Hey, that's not me. That's the parasites. I am not feeding you. I'm starving you out. Like, get out of my body. There's no place for you here." And every time I had a colonic, I meditated on just like leave. I release you.
Release you.
And you can do that at home though too. Like you just have to let go of that gnarly stuff, and it feels so good afterwards, and I feel like I have hit the fountain of youth, and I'm going to continue on. I'm like kind of a Nazi on the anti-sugar for myself, and
it's because you know that if you give the sugar back its power until you get all the systems under control, then all you'll do is, especially remember, all the systems means you're going to re-exercise and regrow your nerves. So in the day, if you need something, you're not going to want sugar. You're going to want something that's got some fat to it. It's a super energy.
Right.
So, one of the things, like she said, is Nick has been interning here, and I've spent a lot of time with Nick because he's like a fruitarian. And he's gained like 20 pounds since he's been here.
I don't know how he does it. Oh my gosh.
He's gained like 20 pounds since he's been here. It's because he's been having all our fruits, lychee, papayas, pineapples. He's eating huge amounts of fruit. And I said, "You're young right now." I said, "but you've gained 20 pounds, and this is what we're really trying to show people, no matter who you are, how young you are. If you put more sugar, even if it's good sugar, in your system that it can't go ahead and overcompensate and process it, you gain weight." So, this has been good because I've been telling him, I said, "Nick, you're not hungry." I said, "What lives inside you's hungry." And I said, keep observing that in your mind. Remember, and if you are going to eat that papaya, it's a holistic approach. You eat the seeds, the skin, and everything. Wash it. And don't just eat the flesh. Eat everything. Okay, it's part of your movement. But
that must be why we have papaya seeds in our dehydrator.
Yeah,
He's taking your advice.
Yeah.
Okay, before we sign off here, anything you want to say here?
I'd just like to say I'm feeling wonderful as well. Yeah, feeling a lot more alert and clear, more clarity. I feel like it's almost like a rebirthing of my true self, like who I am. So that's my path at the moment. And and I think like clearing stuff is definitely 100% a way to do that on the path.
Yeah, I love these girls. It's like I said, why do I do this? They were walking the other day. Dr. Mari and these guys went on a walk. Okay, I think Colleen
Clover.
Yeah, you're right.
too many C's.
Too many C's.
Yeah.
You got the 3 C's.
I think you already went on exercise even before, and they said, "Hey, you want to go on a walk?" And these guys were chatty Cathy, laughing, and I said, "You know what? That's remember I told you. I said that's what makes me happy is when I see you guys over the top happy." Just talking like not cackling about anything. They're just happy as happy. And I saw them. Then they come back from their walk, still hacking it.
We were even happier after the walk. We went to the water at the big waterfall, and it was flowing so strong, and the air was
you went all the way down
nice.
there? Nice
we went
walk.
to Umama, and
But it's like our natural state of being, right?
Totally.
Is everyone wants to be happy, everyone wants joy, everyone wants to feel good.
right, and we're grounded.
Yeah, being grounded, and that
Joy,
that's
bliss,
our true state.
joy, bliss, and happiness is our true state.
Yeah.
How do you get it? It's another story.
Fasting.
Yeah,
You get it by fasting. That's my testimony.
It is 100%. You get it by what?
Fasting.
You get it by what? Fasting. You get it by what?
Fasting.
Okay. And
Clearing.
if you want to regenerate yourself, this is real simple. Remember, there are genes in your system that you can actually turn back on. And if you've got a lot of body fat, okay, the regenerative gene in your system is not happening. Okay, if your system is lacking nutrition and plugged up just because you're skinny, it doesn't mean that you don't have fatty liver. It doesn't mean you have toxic intestines and all these different things. Remember, doing this clean out is a way for you to get your sanity back. And sometimes you don't even know if you have insanity going on. It's because you only feel what you've known. And once you remove inside your system a bunch of discordant, dysfunctional particles, parasites, whatever you want to, and refill your system with beautiful liquids and fuels, then all of a sudden you'll feel like you just got resurrected, born again. And I didn't even have to go to church. I clean my own church. My body is my temple. Okay, my body is my church, and my left and right side of my temples control my church. When these two churches up here, these two temples actually start to talk to each other, then as above, so below, and this is where these guys are at. Their next level of engagement, like I said, is hard work. Why? They just went through all the first layer, just detoxing. Now it's exercise. Now it's really being smart about rebuilding your gut, bacteria, and your nervous system.
Yes.
All right. There we go. Part 2.
Aloha. Thank you, Dr. Cassar.
We just got to do chakas.
All right.
And I get sweaty kisses from both of them.
We kiss you back.
And you know what? No one smells in here. Why? It's because we're all clean.
Pure.
We're all clean. Okay, so this is a big thing. You're probably saying, geez, how can you guys stand each other's smells in there? Well, guess what?
It smells like mint.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're clean.
freshness.
We're clean. I haven't used deodorant under my arms for probably 8 years. And once I got all that garbage out of my system, basically, I didn't have to put it on anymore. But there was a point in time if I didn't use it, whoa.
I stopped using deodorant during my fast. I was like,
There you
I
go.
don't even need this anymore. I really don't need it.
Okay, part 2. One more time.
Aloha.
Aloha. Yeah, okay.
Important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.